The seller of this Xbox Series X said that he tried to clean and replace the thermal paste and now it doesn't work anymore. He sold it to me for $175, so let's see if we can fix it. So let's first plug it in and see if it turns on, if we get anything on the screen. I don't hear the fan coming on. And we just have no power. No power at all. So what do you think's wrong? Make your guesses now. I think this is gonna be a pretty easy fix. I hope it is. I feel like there's probably just something unplugged, but let's open it up and find out. And you can tell somebody's definitely been into this. The whole sticker on the back is totally destroyed. Looks like they tried to peel it up, but only got like the top part of it or something. Okay, it's gonna be so interesting to see how quick of a fix this is. I feel like it's gotta be a pretty fast one, but also sometimes when I think that, it ends up not being a fast one at all. The good news is it looks like everything is here. All the screws and everything are even here. This ribbon cable doesn't look great. And it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of twisted up around here. I'm not sure what's going on there, but let's get the fan out, the disk drive out, and then we can pull this whole sandwich out. Okay, and with those screws out, we can remove the disk drive. And this looks like it doesn't want to stay in. We can fix that later. All right. Fan is out. Next, we'll disconnect these cables. And we'll have to take a look at this one. I'm a little bit worried about it. Also, this should be on the other side of this belt. At least, yeah, because it goes right there. Thought maybe I was thinking about it wrong, but no, that's how it's supposed to go. And that cable doesn't look the best, but I think it's probably okay. This cable is often one people destroy. So let's check this one out. Yeah. This whole connector on the board is not great, and that could be the only problem we have here because this is for the power button, and with it being so destroyed, there's just no way for it to turn the console on. So we need a ribbon cable and we need this connector. Let's see if there's any other problems once we get this thing out. The inside of here looks pretty good overall. I'm not sure whether this ribbon, I might just replace this if I have one. Doesn't look amazing, honestly, but the rest of it looks okay. We do need, I think the best move is going to be to replace this ribbon cable as well. But let's take a look at this. I'm actually going to tear this all the way down. We got to inspect the thermal paste. I'm pretty sure they didn't apply the perfect amount, so we've got to do that, and then we'll see if there are any problems on the way down there. And it looks like the power supply is plugged in all the way so far. Actually, most everything looks pretty good on here so far. And this all looks good. No problems there. Okay, with all those screws out, we can remove this. I did notice this was underneath this. This needs to be on top of this plate. So let me make sure and put that back correctly once we put it back. All right, and we gotta make sure that's plugged in all the way for sure. And this one is also plugged in all the way. Okay, that's all good. No initial problems with the power supply that I see. This cable looks like it is not plugged in fully, I think. Yeah, no, that's plugged in all the way. And now we can remove the Wi-Fi antenna board. Little dust on it, but no issues that I see there. Let's check this board. A little bit of thermal paste there, thermal putty. I don't see any issues here on the top or the bottom. So I think we're good so far there. Now we're down to the main board. And so far everything actually looks okay. I'm always looking for any of these components here that are broken because it's easy to break them if you're prying up on this plate. I'm not a fan of these plates, and in fact in the later revisions of this they just removed this plate, which I love because it's annoying. And this ribbon cable looks good. Now we'll take off this annoying plate. And that's a plate off. We can remove the clamp. I always look for any damaged components around the screws on the clamp too, but so far that looks fine. Got a piece of that connector that's broken randomly on my mat here. And with that clamp removed, we can inspect the thermal paste and see if there is the perfect amount. I think we already all know the answer to that. Is that replaced? That doesn't even look, I mean, I guess it's sort of fresh, but yeah, I guess it's fresh. Okay. I mean, definitely not the perfect amount. They didn't do the worst job for sure, but we got to do a better job than that. So let's get this cleaned up. Ah, there's some of the old thermal paste still on here. That's what I was wondering. So pretty much all you see here is old thermal paste. Honestly, it doesn't really matter if it's there. It's not like it hurts anything. It doesn't affect anything, but I just don't like the looks of it. So I'm gonna use my metal dental pick, and I don't ever suggest anyone does this. I'm gonna use my metal dental pick and scrape it off. I do it because I'm used to it and it's effective for me. I don't believe I've ever knocked anything off of the board using one of these. It is possible though. Okay, and that is good enough. Now I'm gonna clean the top of the die here, also along the edge. And now the moment you've all been waiting for, the entire reason you watch this whole video, the perfect amount of thermal paste. And with that, we can start putting this thing back together. Board goes on. Oh no, got a bunch of thermal paste down in here. That's annoying. I mean, it's fine. It's not gonna hurt anything. It's just annoying. I have to clean it out now. Also, I need to make sure it's all clean out of this connector. That could definitely cause a problem. I'm not gonna go through this whole thing and then it doesn't work at the end. That would not be ideal. Okay, done fixing the problem I created. Next the clamp, and then we can't forget the big old ribbon cable that goes on here. And with the clamp on now, we can put the top of the metal cage on. There we go. And then the ribbon cable. Now the big hunk of metal. And now we can get to the repairs on this board. This for sure needs to be fixed. This one looks good. I don't see any other problems, so let's get this connector repaired. So the first thing we're gonna do here is remove this connector. There's a number of ways to do this. I'm gonna do it probably not the recommended way, but I'm gonna do it the way I wanna do it since I'm the one making the video. I'm going to cut this connector away. Gotta make sure that I don't tear anything off the board though. That's my main goal here. I could flip it over and heat it from the bottom side, and that would probably work pretty well. But there's also this connector and this connector that I don't want to come off the board, so this is just what I think is easier for me right now. Oh, don't want that to come off. Now I should be able to push this forward, this plastic piece, and it'll come off of all of those pins. Yeah, just like that. That's what I want. There we go. Okay, so these, I need to get my soldering station and heat this solder up because I don't want those pads tearing off. So we'll do that next. Now we'll come in with our soldering iron. There we go. That's what we needed. I'll get the rest of these off of here as well while we're at it. All right. And you see some of the dangers of doing it the way I did. You have to pull up on that metal, and that can cause a problem with these pads. But overall, we did pretty well. These two pads got a little bit loose, but they look pretty good, and I think they're gonna work just fine. So now, this is our new connector. I'm gonna place it down a little bit, and then pull it back up and tin all these pads. This will just help this make it easier to install. I don't know why I'm using my fingers for that. That's way too small to use my fingers for. Okay. I might need to, oh no, these are tinning, okay. Yeah, that'll totally work. All right. Okay. Now we need to line this thing up. Right about there is where we, a little bit more. Right about there is where we need it. There we go. Might as well add some over here while we're at it. Okay, let's line this up and do that all again. I'm taking a lot of time to do this because this part is super important. If we get it lined up just right, then all the rest of this is going to go so much easier. Ah, I thought I had it. Not quite. Wiggling it a little bit to get it moved over just a tiny bit. Okay, there we go. That looks really good. Now we need to try and get this other side soldered on. Pretty good, but I need to push down on this while I solder and make sure that gets mounted down there all the way. All the way against the board. We need more flux. And there's a lot more flux. That should do it. Okay, I'm gonna push down on this. There we go. You saw that kind of push down onto the board. That's exactly what we needed. So that's all looking good so far. I'm gonna put a little bit of flux on all these pins in the back. I don't like adding too much flux because it's really easy to get so much that it kind of gums up the actual port connector. And when it does that, it's really hard to make a good connection with the ribbon cable. Okay, so that is looking pretty good. But let's check these pins and make sure they're all soldered on. Yep, those are perfect. Mounting pins are good. Connector works. See all that flux, we got to clean all of that out of there because that'll gum up the ribbon cable when we put it in there. So I'm going to give this a good cleaning, and then we just need to replace those ribbon cables. And then it'll be time to start this thing up and see if it actually will start up and see if it'll work. We just need to flood this thing with isopropyl alcohol, get all of that flux out. I don't want any of it stuck up in this port because I need to make sure that there's a really good connection with that ribbon cable, especially since we're going to put a new one or a known good one in there. I want it to work really well. That is looking much better. All right, let's get this board installed. All right, and now this can go back right here somewhere. There we go. And this goes on here like that. Okay, all good so far. This guy can go on, and then this plate goes right there. And now the power supply can go on. I'm gonna make sure all these are plugged in all the way. Now this plate can go on, and this plate after we get that screw in. And the other wireless board. And now let's put the belt on. Now we need to replace this ribbon cable and this ribbon cable. So to replace this one, we need to take off this front power board, and then we can get to this cable and replace it. And there's just 4 screws down here we need to loosen in order to do that. Now this cable has adhesive along the top, so we'll just pull it away from that adhesive, and then the whole board comes up, and then we can release it from the connector and pull it out. Now this cable might be okay. We could maybe reuse it, but since we're doing all this work, I just want to replace it. And this is our replacement cable, freshly harvested from a donor. And there we go. And we'll stick it down just like that. Now we can get this installed back into the Xbox. Okay, now this one over here, we also need to replace. So we'll remove it from the adhesive and then pull on it. There's that one, and the other freshly harvested ribbon cable goes right in there. Lock the locking tab down. Okay, with those replaced, we can install the sandwich. There we go. Now, let's try these 2 cables, make sure they install all the way. Oh yeah, that one does. And this one, Can we install it? Yep, clicks in just how it's supposed to. So we're good to go on those. All right, now we need to get the disk drive in. So we'll do that right now. Just goes right down in there, lines up with the tabs, the fan installed. There we go, plugged in. All right, got to get some more screws in and the bottom plate on, and then we'll be ready to test this thing. But only after I remove all that stuff so I can install these screws that I forgot. I don't know what's wrong with me today, but I'll be lucky if this thing starts up when I'm done. Now I can redo all that stuff I just did, and then we'll see if it works. Now we have everything in here without forgetting anything, at least hopefully. The back cover is on. Just got to put these 2 screws in. Then we can test it, and we can plug it in, see if it turns on, and if it shows anything on the screen. And here we go. Does it power on? Of course it powers on. Does it play a disc? Let's find out. Takes the disc in. Oh, okay. I thought it wasn't showing anything on the screen, but there we have the Xbox logo. The disc drive. There we go. The disc drive is also spinning up. So this Xbox Series X is all fixed. The seller of this Xbox almost had it, just messed up the connectors and the ribbon cables. So just remember, when you're taking your console apart, just be careful and follow a guide if possible. If you like this type of video, you'll probably like the video where I bought a broken Xbox Series X, but it's the Halo Infinite Edition, and I almost messed it up. I'll put a link for that video up on your screen now, so you can come hang out with me over there and see what I messed up. Thanks for watching today, and I hope you have a good one.